7 tenant scams that are costing landlords millions of dollars. We're going to share with you the top 7 scams that tenants try to run on landlords. We're going to do this with the one and only Casey from Brick by Brick Wealth. How you doing, Casey?
Oh, I'm doing good, Michael. I just posted a similar video and it's doing really well. So obviously this is the topic that people want to know about. So, and I haven't ever talked about it before. So I'm glad to be here and create the awareness with everyone today.
Well, let's jump in. What is the first tenant scam costing landlords millions?
First one is unauthorized roommates. So you have to be careful, right? What I do, everyone needs to be on the lease agreement. Even brand new newborns, I'll make an amendment. But what some people do is they will apply, or let's say you maybe have a criminal family member or friend or whatever that would not qualify. Their background check wouldn't go through, they don't meet the credit score, whatever. You have somebody else do the application, sign the lease agreement, and then that person, the applicant, leaves and other people move in. If you aren't careful, now you've got a house full of people that don't have a lease agreement. Yikes.
Yeah. I can tell you from firsthand experience, one of my horror stories I often talk about on Halloween is called the Hammer story. What's the Hammer story? Essentially, somebody rented one of my apartments, fully leased, fully approved, all the checks. And to your point, shortly thereafter, 3 or 4 months later, somebody else came in to pay rent. They were not on the lease. We said, hey, no problem. Thankfully, we didn't take the rent. We said, we got to add you the lease amendment. Came back, not approved, all kinds of things. And the original leaseor was gone. So then we start evictions. That person doesn't like it. So they invite all their friends over and tell them to bring hammers. And they go on to destroy my house. They break everything, holes in the wall, break the toilets, break the tub. Yes, they went nuts with a hammer. Now, some of them went to jail because that's destruction of property. But yes, that cost me 25 grand or something. So yes, this does happen.
Wow. Okay. So everybody better watch the rest of this whole video.
Yeah, that's just number 1. I can't wait for the number 2.
And there's some wild stories on my video too in the comments. I'm like, oh my God. So, you think that these scams and things won't happen to you. And you think, oh, I only have 1 or 2 houses. I mean, the reason why I came up with this list and came up with this video idea is because I've been almost scammed before too, and been scammed in small ways. And it's a real thing, and it happens all the time. So especially with the entitlement out there, everyone thinks landlords are slime balls and they just want to get one over. So, all right, anyway, let's go on to the next one.
There you go. Okay. What's number 2?
Number 2 is overpay. I'm going to go with overpay first. So this one is really good. Okay. So let's say, and this usually happens before any agreement is signed, maybe when you're just about, you have a new tenant and they're sending the security deposit, right, to hold the place. Sometimes people will sign a lease agreement along with it. Sometimes they'll wait until, first month's rent. The security deposit is sometimes just a placeholder. Like, hey, I will reserve this for you until the first of the month or whatever. When I get first month, we have to have the lease signed by then or whatever. So no one's really bound to much. There's not a lot of information, besides the application given. And what happens is these scammers will apply to a place. Say, oh yeah, I love your place. It's great. Let me put my security deposit down. They don't really care what your house is. They're not really intending to move in. And they will send you, Zelle you, or Venmo you, or however you're taking payment, right, for the security deposit electronically. Let's say they're supposed to give you $1,000. They'll give you $2,000 and go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I accidentally hit the 2 instead of the 1. Can you send me that $1,000 back? It's a lot of money and I really have to have that back, And you're like, oh my God, you feel so bad for the person. And they overpaid by 1,000. You can see it. They hit the 2 instead of the 1. And then you send them their 1,000 back. And then they cancel the payment because it was still pending. And now you're out the $1,000.
Yeah, that absolutely does happen. Same thing with checks. It can happen. Tenants, people are scammy, and this is just another example of they're preying on your good nature, and you can get taken advantage of pretty quickly in this game. So if that's number 2, let's get into number 3.
Yeah, and be careful too, because with cashier's checks, they take a while to clear sometimes, and they can, if they end up being fraudulent, I mean, that's another one, but they end up being fraudulent and not going through. So just make sure to prevent that. The money has cleared first before you give back any overage. Overages happen on accident, but gotta be careful.
Be careful.
Okay. The next one, let me mark these down so I don't do two. Okay. The next one is security deposit advance. So this one isn't as much a scam as it is could be putting you out funds unnecessarily. And let's be honest, most of the time tenants really are out for themselves at the end of the day when push comes to shove, especially if they're moving out. So here's the security deposit advance. You've had a tenant, maybe they've been there for a year and they're not renewing their lease and they're ready to move out. And they say, okay, well, I'm moving out, March 31st or whatever it is. Hey, landlord, I need my security deposit back right now so I can put it down other place. How am I going to, where am I going to get money for a security deposit on a new place if you have my security deposit? And you're like, well, God, that makes sense. Like they're going to need it. So then you give them their security deposit back because they've been approved for a new place. And then they don't pay their last month's rent. Because, or their security deposit doesn't cover damages. It's gone. You don't have any leverage now that you've given your security deposit back to them. Your leverage is now gone.
Yeah, no, again, put in your lease agreement how security deposits are handled, because absolutely right. How many sob stories we've heard over the years about, hey, I can't do this, I can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And, if you do something outside the lease and you give them their money early, you are going to get got. This is costing landlords a lot of money. Love that for number 3. What do you got for number 4?
All right. Number 4 is a fake injury or mold claim. Okay. So a lot of times there's mold, or maybe the injury is legit. So one thing here is, just because I'm saying now fake injury or mold scam doesn't mean that every claim is going to be fake. So if you have a tenant that says, I slipped and fell, or I have to go to the hospital, I have headaches and shortness of breath, and I've got all these mold symptoms that I self-diagnosed online or whatever, and you have mold and I'm going to get my lawyer, or I need to move out, or whatever they're trying to do. First thing is you have to have documentation. Second thing is treat it like legit. Treat it as, what if it is a real mold or injury claim and you don't do anything about it? So unfortunately, though, tenants will claim mold injury claims that are not real. They will try and sue people and get some money. To prevent this, you have to document everything. So what I do is I have a sheet called conversation log, and every time, and this is like, do as I say, not as I do. I don't always do this, and I'm trying to get better. But every time I talk to a tenant, I will write it down in my conversation log. If I have a long text thread with a tenant about an issue, you bet your butt I'm screenshotting that, and I'm definitely saving it to my Google Drive. And then maybe later I'll put in my conversation log. As soon as I start feeling like something's going on, I stop phone calls with them, and everything is written through email or through text, and I will not do any more verbal talking with them. So you have to be careful. You have to treat the issue as legit, because it very well could be. And you get the mold people out there and you do the test, and injury, you do all the right things. If you didn't have a proper hand railing, down the stairs, people are out there looking to get you. And I was just, this is a little bit unrelated, but on the scam side, I don't know where I was yesterday. I was reading online or something. And, it was an Instagram post. That's right. And some lady who sells skincare products online said that this is the Instagram reel I saw, said she got a lawsuit. She got served at the door. She got a lawsuit because her website was not ADA compliant for blind people. And she got sued. Small business owner. She got sued because her website wasn't ADA compliant for blind people. So there are people, I saw this yesterday, there are people out there that are looking for ways to sue you.
Well, I'll give you one real life example for me. And this happened to Olivia and I a few years ago. There was a dog bite incident. Not my dog, not my tenant, not on my property. And I still got hit with a lawsuit. Now, this was obviously quickly thrown out of court because I got lawyers and I can pay them. But yes, crazy things will happen. Again, not my dog, not my tenant, not on my property. And I was
what were
still,
they suing you for?
Obviously it was a fraudulent claim, but again, it was just
Yeah.
somebody out there looking for a handout.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? I mean, did you just play Russian roulette? I mean, I don't understand why I got hit with this, but yeah.
And you're out the fees. Like you still have to pay your lawyer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, my insurance company paid for it because I have really good insurance. But yeah, it was comical. And again, I tell that story in all honesty. It happened. Not my tenant, not my dog, not on my property. And I was still selected as the guy that got sued. And again, it doesn't cost me anything but it adds stress and this, that. I mean, it's crazy stuff happens. All right. What do you got? I think we're up to number 5.
Okay. Next one I have is the wonderful fur babies, ESA pets. All right. Look, I'm not really a dog person, but I get it. People love their dogs. Okay.
Yep.
And a lot of times tenants don't want to pay pet rent. They don't want to put a deposit down. Right. So they will claim that their pet is an ESA animal, an emotional support animal. And this is where the scam comes in. True ESA pet owners are not going to lie to you, and they're not going to hide the fact that they have an ESA animal.
Not at all. Not at all.
They're not going to do it. So when you ask, so what I do is when I ask, I have to catch myself, but I stop asking, will there be any pets? Do you have any dogs or cats, any pets? You can't say pets because they're not pets. They're emotional support animals. So you have to say the verbiage that they're going to use back at you. Well, I didn't have any pets. I have an emotional support animal. So you have to say, are there any emotional support animals going to be living in the property? And if so, you're allowed to ask for documentation. They have to be documented. People can't just run around and say, oh, everything that I owns and, my snake, my turtle, they're all, I mean, who cares about those? But, my 12 dogs are emotional support animals. They're just, come on. True ESA pet owners are not lying to you. They're not hiding it from you. And they're going to tell you right up front.
No, I agree with that. Again, if somebody has done the work and gotten the certification, they're going to tell you right up front. But yeah, and the other thing about pets and fur babies, again, as a dog lover, so let's be very clear, I love my 2 dogs and I allow pets in my units, but you got to pay the fee. And yes, maybe, sometimes maybe it's a mistake. Maybe they didn't have pets when they moved in, but they got a pet later. That's to your point earlier. That's a change to the lease. Yeah. And there are costs for that. So absolutely.
Yep. And 2, we got to remember some insurance companies won't insure certain breeds of dogs. Like
absolutely right. There's a list.
Okay, so they don't tell you that there's, they have a Doberman Pinscher at your house, and then it bites the neighbor, and now your insurance company isn't going to cover any of that, and you're liable. So no matter what, the landlord gets to know who and what is occupying the property.
Yeah, and that's why you or your property manager has to visit properties, because you just never know when something will be snuck in. All right, what's number 6?
That's how we found one of a dog in our house from driving by, and there's a little doggy in the window, and it was what was it? I forget the ones that they say bite everyone. Anyway,
Pitbull.
Pitbull. That was one. Yeah. Anyways, okay. So next one I have. Oh, this one I like. This one I've gotten. Fake employment records. Fake verification. Okay. Sorry, the heater is driving me crazy. It's getting hot. Getting excited. Okay. There are in Memphis, in Facebook groups for rent, for sale, Memphis. Okay. There are people, you can join one right now and find them, that will say, anyone need fake bank statements? Anyone need fake employment verification? Anyone need fake W-2s or paycheck stubs? Hit me up. For a fee, I can give you all these fake employment documentation so you can get a rental property. And then you've got people in your house that can't afford it. They can't afford it. And then you're going to go to their employer and they don't even work there, And the way you can kind of spot some of this, I mean, a lot of it's done very poorly. Some of these,
one that we got years ago actually had a misspelled word on it. It was crazy, but yeah.
So, you look for mismatched fonts, not being the same throughout. You look for not lining up. People copied and
logo mistakes. Yeah.
Logo mistakes, and one of an easy one that I have seen is an HR company at a real company having a Gmail address.
Yes. Gmail address is not good. Come on.
Come on. Come on.
Come on.
So you got to watch that. And I think that probably that one is one of the most common scams out there.
I agree.
Is the fake employment record.
So you really fraudulent docs.
And add up. I had a lady once, I forget what her job description was, but she was not the smartest tool in the shed. I met her in person, and I think her job was like physical, like a physician's assistant or something like that. And I'm like, no way. It just doesn't make sense. And you verify, ask for bank statements. You can, if they're self-employed or they have a short income, you can ask for tax returns. And people go, whoa, oh, that's so invasive. Well, then don't apply for my house. Like, if you can't show me that if I don't feel comfortable, you can't show me 2 years of employment history. If I can't call a real employer and you're sending me to someone's cell phone number or a Gmail address and your documents look copy and pasted, I mean, I'm going to need a little bit more. You're taking up residency in a property that I own. So just need to make sure everything's on the up and up.
There you go. Well, let's bring it home. What is number 7?
All right. Number 7, let's go with utilities left in your name. And I have a few more of these on my video if anybody wants to go watch the rest of them. But this one is a good one. And I will say, this isn't necessarily like purposeful scam, but it is outing you money. You are losing money. So what happens is, in most states, most places, the tenants are responsible for utilities, right? Mm-hmm. They have to pay, and they need to get transferred. You don't want to shut utilities off when your property is vacant and then have the tenants go turn them on. Like, we all know that's a pain in the butt. The tenants don't have to sit there and wait for the gas guy. It could be 4 to 6 hour window. It's a pain in the butt. So the easier thing to do is have utilities transferred from your name into the new person's name. Well, a lot of times potential tenants just won't do that. Now, there are tenants that do it on purpose, and then there are tenants that do it on accident. So the tenants that do it on purpose is they will purposefully not transfer utilities in their name, and then they will move in, and then you have to pay for utilities because in many states you have to provide, like, they cannot be without water and electric or heat or whatever. Usually it's, well, depend. If you live in a snowy state, I can promise you those East Coast states are mandating that the landlord has to provide gas for heat. So they move in and they don't pay you. They put it off. And then now you have to front the bill because you can't have your tenant go without utilities. Another one is when they're on accident, right? They don't do it on purpose. And this one's happened to me like all the time. I'm just very trusting, and a couple days is not a big deal, but it does cost me money. So I'll say, tenants, you have to transfer in your name. And then it's move-in day. Okay, well, I called and they had the order in for Friday. Fine, I'm going to pay for yours for 3 days, whatever. But you are out those 3 days and paying for utilities when you shouldn't. So a good way to prevent that is to make sure that they have them transferred before you give them the keys, or at least have the date set for transfer, for move-in day. But I would definitely watch utilities one, be more proactive on, your good tenants and making sure that they give enough information, enough advice on how to do it. If there's a tenant new to the county, new to the state or whatever, they may not already have an account set up. They might have to go down in person and show tons of documents. So it might just be more difficult than just a phone call. And that could add up another week or two where you're fronting the bill.
Yeah. Casey, this is a great list. This is only 7. Your list was over 10.
I got
Where can
11.
People find it? There you go.
Yes,
Where can they find it?
You can find it on my YouTube channel. It's my most recent video, Brick by Brick Wealth.
Awesome. Casey, you're amazing. And also don't forget to check her out on Instagram. Take care.
Oh, yeah.